It's got to stay open. It's got to stay open. It's got to stay open.
He gets a little bit better. They get on it. Never get
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call of Alderman.
Alderman Hazel.
Here.
Alderman Kinsella.
Here.
Alderman Pusa.
Here.
Alderman Bittner.
Here.
Alderman Randall. Here. Alderman Tyler.
Here.
Alderman Anthony.
Here.
Alderman Ovian.
Here.
Alderman Silsby.
Here.
Alderman Dillman.
Here.
Alderman Seibert. Alderman White.
Here.
Alderman Galetti.
Here.
Alderman Elmore. Alderman Whittington.
Here.
Alderman Musgrove.
Here.
Alderman Seibert and Elmore are excused. Roll call of department heads.
City Treasurer Hart.
Here.
City Attorney Horner.
Here.
Police Chief Clay.
Here.
Fire Chief Ford.
Here.
Director of Maintenance Ken Vaughn.
Here.
Royce Carlisle.
Here.
Jamie Matrid.
Here.
Tim Gregwoods.
Here.
Jim Schneider.
Here.
Leander Spearman.
Here.
Anissa McCaskill.
Here.
Chuck Schaefer. Debbie Belleville.
Here.
Bob Sable.
Here.
Mike Parsons here, Chuck Schaefer. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to September 19th City Council meeting, regular meeting here. We thank once again Lindenwood for hosting us while we are just really starting. They started today abating the asbestos at City Hall, so things are starting to move. Couple quick comments. We are videotaping. This microphone system is a little bit unique, so please speak into the microphones. When we have public participation in a few minutes, Dallas will put the hand mic out there. Please speak into the microphone after you're called on and you give your name. And keep your comments to 2 to 3 minutes, please. If we had any emergency, if we had a disaster as far as something, smoke or fire, had to leave the building, there's several exits, but we'd ask that you would kind of meet in front of the auditorium so that we could look around and make sure people sitting next to you all got out okay. And if we had bad weather ever, doesn't look like it tonight, thank goodness, we would work our way to the basement and get to the inside hallway or inside the bathrooms where there's no windows to protect ourselves. So with that being said, we have no public hearing this evening. I'll open up public participation. Who would like to go first? The lady in the front row.
Lillian Schneider, 219 Kansas Belleville. I'd like to thank Streets and Grades for approving the street light on Kansas Avenue. Now my next thing is I am very disappointed with housing. I called about 2 complaints and the officer, he emphasized that he was Master Sergeant, wanted to know who I was talking to. I'm a grown person. I don't need to talk to anybody to turn in complaints, and it was not right for him to question me like that. Anybody can turn in complaints, and especially on the East End where I live. I did not appreciate the way he talked to me like I wasn't supposed to be turning in complaints. There's one that the complaint has been sitting since all summer for sure, and I don't appreciate it. We are the taxpayers making their paychecks. And there will be a picture and a letter to the paper on this. I don't know what housing is. We got a person living in a city-owned property. Do they pay taxes? Do they pay the insurance? Does the city collect rent? Who cuts the grass? Who pays the sewer? Who pays the water? When did the city get into rental business? And it seems like the housing department only caters to the ones they want and go after the ones they want. I was talking to no one about my complaints, and I am very upset to be accused of talking to someone, which was all wrong. Maybe 60 minutes, or the feds need to get down here on our housing department, because if a citizen cannot turn in a complaint and be accused of all this problems, it's very wrong. 60 minutes and the feds need to get him.
Next. Might as well go in order.
Michael Hackberg. First about the Meredith home and the roof proposal on that. Documentation that the city had done when they had a study of the home done said that that roof was installed in 2007. A EDPM roof is supposed to last between 20 to 25 years. I don't understand why a roof that's only 9 years old has been failing so bad. And has anybody checked in to find out if there are any warranties on material and labor for the installation that was done on that roof that has apparently failed at less than half of its expected life? Second comment on the development agreement for 6401. The public was misled when the council approved Adam Hill to receive $2.5 million in incentives to revitalize his property, only to learn an additional $81,000 in incentives is being offered to Todd Kennedy, and this was hidden from the public and select aldermen. I want to know, do you think that every store owner there is going to be coming with an additional request for incentives? If so, how much is it going to cost? And my feeling is that any incentive should be reducing the $2.5 million that was given to Adam Hill. He said he was going to improve that entire parcel for $2.5 million worth of incentives, and the rest of the money he was going to put in himself. It was deceptive for this administration to have known that additional incentives were going to be offered and have it hidden from the public and select aldermen. Thank you.
We'll go with the lady in the back of the room first. We'll mix it up here. Girl, boy, girl, boy.
Kathy Draper, 500 South 19th Street, Belleville. I have a couple of questions. I was looking through here and it says about the Meredith home, but that's not my question, I guess. Why is it still a loading zone in front of Meredith home? Because there's nobody in there and there's no loading done there. Can we possibly make that handicap parking? Because there is no handicap parking for the courthouse. And I personally have parked there not knowing that if I park on the other side of the loading zone thing, that I could park there as handicap, and I got a ticket. So my question is can we, if there's nobody in the Meredith home, and there's no loading and unloading done to the Meredith home, can't we rezone that as handicap parking? That would be a good thing to do for the city, because there's not any specifically handicap parking, except for the two, I think it is the two parking spots behind City Hall, and that's part of City Hall.
And there's two behind the Meredith home also. I believe there's two behind the Meredith.
Yeah, but I don't think you can park there. I think that's private city parking behind the Meredith home.
Mr. White, you're chairman of traffic. Would you make a note of this and we'll put it on the agenda? No, quite honestly, I think it's a good point. I just don't think anybody's ever brought it up before.
Well, I would appreciate it because there's not enough handicap parking and you can't get to it.
He nodded his head, he heard you, so we'll get it on the
Okay,
agenda.
the other thing that I want to know is when housing comes out, puts a green sticker on the uninhabitable home that they're finding, okay? I have a neighbor who, the house has been vacant for many years. It's changed owners and stuff. They put a green sign up on the storm door. He's decided that he's going to open the storm door and keep it open, held with a paint can, so that when the police come by and see him there after hours, they don't know that he's got a green sign on his window because it's facing the other door. This issue's been going on for 2 months. He comes and goes as he pleases. He doesn't have a car.
Have you told the housing department?
I have, and I've talked to Jane about it as well.
Okay.
But he still has the door open to where you can see there's a sticker of some sort, but unless you get up and go on the porch, move the paint can, close the door, you can't see a green sticker, and the police won't do anything about that.
Most of them just take the stickers off, so I'm kind of surprised.
Well, he has tried to do that, but the corner of it's torn a little bit, so he just put the door up. The other problem that I have right now is that the city lot at 407, 409 needs to be cut,
Okay.
South 19th Street.
Mr.
City
Sable,
lot
do you
needs to
note
be
that? I got a nod. He'll write it
Okay,
down. Okay?
thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir, the blue shirt.
Rick Brown, 632 South Pennsylvania Avenue, Belleville, Illinois. First, I want to thank Mr. Roger Wigington for allowing me to show a video of the 2013 meeting that said they weren't going to charge fees or do inspections on people, tenants that are bringing their boyfriend or girlfriend into their home. And I was given about 15 minutes with the video, and I really appreciate that. Now, I think I've been coming at this a little bit wrong way. So I think what we've got here, fellas, is a failure to communicate. Okay? I know for a fact, in the last 2 weeks, you have allowed a mother and a father to move in to a dwelling with their daughter without an inspection and without paying a fee to add to the occupancy permit. Okay? Now, this morning I made a couple phone calls. One was to the housing department, and I asked if one of my tenants could move in their boyfriend or girlfriend, and they said, no, it needs an inspection. $60 for an inspection, an illegal search under the Fourth Amendment, and a $50 fee. Now, the other phone call I made was to a nationally recognized civil rights organization. And don't worry, I didn't tell them what city it was, or who it was, or anything like that. So the cat ain't out of the bag yet. But if that same girl that got to have her parents move in, if she wanted to move in her black boyfriend, she would have to get an occupancy inspection. So I think this is, you know, you told me at the meeting that we use discretion. Well, let me tell you a little bit about discretion. Okay, he has to get an inspection and a permit, the parents don't. Okay, a lesbian woman, if she wants to move in, a lesbian partner, they have to get an inspection and pay $60 and $50 on the permit. If a gay man wants to put a gay man in his house, he has to get an inspection. If a person who has a friend that is disabled and they want to move them and their wheelchair into the city of Belleville, guess what? They have to have an inspection. Now, this is called discretion. How about if a person wants to move in, let's say a gal wants to move in a Muslim or a Jewish boyfriend. Guess what? They have to have a full inspection, a search of the house, which takes about 20 minutes, and they move the furniture out of the way and plug in their little testers and everything. That's discretion. I think you know where I'm getting at. Now, this nationally recognized organization, you know, they didn't seem to care that you might do this to other people too. You know, they just wanted to pinpoint on the racial, the ADA, the religious, national origin, and that. And he's absolutely right, because that's going to be what's going to happen. You're going to get sued for discretion. Nobody needs to come in a person's home who was legally there and legally had an inspection in the first place just to have somebody else move in. Thank you.
Yes, I see a hand in the back of the room. The red shirt first. You got to speak into the microphone, Stuart. We can't hear you. Get right up to it.
Stuart Lanner, 318 South 29th Street, Belleville. I see Chief Clay and his partner back there.
Okay, Stuart, you can't turn around and talk to the chief.
Chief Clay and his partner back there are one of the things I got a complaint about. His partner there, I got beat up coming out of a business about 8 years ago, possibly. It was, I don't remember the exact time, I can look it up, but it was roughly 8 years ago. And I wanted this person arrested. There was witnesses, and he wouldn't, the patrolman said, forget it, go home. I I said, no, I want him arrested. He'll tell me to go, and about the third time I said, I want him arrested. He arrested me, I spent the night in jail. So I go, after I get out, then I go down to the police department, I had to walk home. And then I get out, then I go down to the police department and fill out a complaint. No, and before that, I tried to call the other police officers and have this person arrested, but when they found out, I think his name's Jennings, wouldn't have me arrested. Not a one of them would touch it. I think that's what they call code of silence. Not a single police officer, once Jennings turned it down, would they touch it. So I filed a complaint against that, and I turned it in, and within 3 hours, Chief Clay calls me a liar and a troublemaker. 3 hours after I turned this in. 8 years later, I file a complaint, and it takes 4 or 5 months to get an answer, and the only way I had to get an answer is spend $1,300 on a lawyer. Because Clay and the mayor wouldn't talk to me about it. And another time I donated $1,000 to Linda Holt, and she had to go out to Oregon or something, and then the mayor appoints a bobblehead. So that $1,000 was wasted. I had to spend
Okay,
$1,300.
Stuart, we're not gonna take name calling,
Okay.
and just stay on task, and you got about 45 seconds at
Okay,
the
here
most
we
left.
go. I got it. I asked, what did I do to be called, this is from the state police in regards to the Belleville police, what did I do to be called a threat to public safety? That's what it is. I'm a threat to yourself, a danger to others, and pose a threat to public safety. And here's some clown up in Chicago is a gang member, a felon, and he's got a concealed carry permit. Now, I'm going to go to, I called my congressman, but I'm going to find out what did I do to be considered a public enemy number one. Maybe I always like to keep it honest, so maybe I ought to just go out and blow a few buildings up, and then I will be a threat to public safety.
Stuart, your time's up, and if you keep that up, the police are gonna wanna talk to you tonight. You do this so often where you cross the line. Is there anybody else? Yes, sir.
Bronco 408 Albert Street, Belleville. I'm the Belleville Historical Society historian talking about history. Belleville civic leaders came together in 1930 to build a hotel that would be the showplace of the city. Hotel Belleville was the result, and it met their high expectations. That building again can be Belleville's showplace, but it needs the time for revitalization to occur. A new roof will buy the time necessary to keep redevelopment a viable option. I urge the City Council to vote to fund the roof repair so that Hotel Belleville can become the focal point of Belleville's renaissance.
Thank you. Yes, sir, in the back of the room. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Line back.
You're it. You're it.
Every time I do it.
You broke it.
Oh, shit. John Steinlogging, Union Avenue, Belleville, Illinois. First of all, Belleville's a great town. I don't give a damn what these naysayers say. And I'd like to thank all the people that cleaned up after that Oktoberfest. I doubt if there's any festival in any of the other towns, the town gets cleaned up like Belleville does. I mean, it's immaculate the next day. What more can you ask for, right? Now, Mr. Bittner, may I address him?
As long as it's civil.
Everything's civil with me, you know that. Anyway, Mr. Bittner, you have a good friend with Lindenwood, whether you realize it or not. Consider all the things they've done to make the area better and everything like that. Now, you always complain about the neighbors of the Lindenwood people. So I went to Lindenwood and I talked to them. I said, I would like to buy the house on either side of Mr. Bittner. I said, I'll pay what you paid for it, everything you put into it, and I'll give you 20% for it. They wouldn't sell it. Because I was gonna turn them into neighborhood houses that you really would like to live with. And that will teach you something about bitching about living.
Okay.
Is that enough?
Okay, that's, you're crossing the line, and
Okay, I want to cross the line.
we're not going there, so.
Okay, one more thing, okay? Mr. Mayor, I had a good friend of mine move into the city of Belleville. And through the internet or whatever, he hired somebody to clean his house. We called him, he went, he met, and everything like that. So he hired this person. And he got a phone call and he had to go somewhere. So when he got back, the person was gone and so was half the stuff in his house. Now you have a crime-free ordinance for tenants. I think that somehow people who want to clean houses in Belleville should register. And then you know who's cleaning what and everything like that. Now you have no idea. I mean, the people that come in like that are really worse than the people that live there. End of subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now it's going to fall.
Is there anybody else? Anybody else from the public? Yes, ma'am. We can bring it to you.
No, I'm good. Ashley Pollock, I live at 302 West Cleveland Avenue, and I actually also wanted to address Alderman Bittner. I'm the inaugural, I formerly worked for Lindenwood University as the Director of Academic Student Success and Retention, and I got to know those students very well. And I think it's very unbecoming of a city official to have the sign that you have in front of your yard speaking directly to those students. It tells me that you're not someone who works in education. You're not someone who supports education. That's what that sign says. It's not very classy. It's not upholding the values of Belleville. I understand that you certainly have the right under the First Amendment to have that sign. Absolutely. But as a city official, I'd like you to reconsider that. I really would. It's really just not our values. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, I'm going to close public participation. 2 minutes. Okay, at this time, we're going to go on to presentations, recognitions, and appointments. Tonight we have a appreciation recognition for a very, very important and very meaningful situation. I'm going to ask Fire Chief Tom Poor to come up and join me, and then we will call this gentleman up. Tom, you want to use the microphone there, and I'll come out when you present it. You want this?
Yeah. What I'll start off with just a little background on what we're talking about here. On July the 13th, many of you know we had a very severe storm come through town. And in a short amount of time, the fire department ran over 100 calls. For us, we usually run about 2,000 a year. So 100 calls at one time is pretty substantial. On that evening, I just went over and met Mr. Randolph. You want to come up here? On that evening, Mr. Richard Randolph here, he was sitting at home with his mother, which I just met the other day as well, and thought they smelled smoke in their house. And he went to investigate. It was in the kitchen area, I believe he told me, and opened up the cabinet under the sink, and there was smoke coming from underneath the house. So he went outside, investigated, pulled out a panel for the crawl space, and saw the fire underneath the house. So he's immediately thinking, what do? I need to get my mom out of the house. You can see she's in a wheelchair. Makes it a little bit more difficult. So he grabbed the garden hose and extinguished the fire the first time. And then come to find out, it came back right away. So he extinguished the fire. It was bigger the second time, trying to make sure, before he could try to get his mom out. And come to find out, then they smelled gas. And I believe, did you say you shut the gas off? So then he went to shut the gas off. Well, we found out later that the house was possibly struck by lightning. And when the gas company came later, they said they don't know why the house didn't blow up, because he had an active gas leak and a fire underneath the house. So we just wanted to show him our appreciation for what he did. Like I said, while we're running 100 calls ourselves and, keeping that fire in check and making sure that, his mom was able to get out of the house just fine. And actually he contained the fire to where there was very little damage to the house at all. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And to the family, we just say, we know that you're very proud of them, and we're just happy everybody's okay. And as Tom said, that was a crazy night that night with the storm. And it's always important that people help and do the right thing. But that night, we were spread really thin. So your actions and your help not only saved your family and yourself, but it helped us out tremendously. And that turned out to be a situation that was not nearly as critical as it might have been. So thank you for your quick thinking. All right. Okay, that certainly is the enjoyable part of the meeting when you can recognize somebody for taking action that's so helpful. This time we got to the approval of the minutes. I'd ask for a motion to accept and file the regular council meeting minutes from September 5th, 2016. Motion by Alderman Glady, second by Alderman Wiggington. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'd ask for a motion to pay the claims, payroll, disbursements. The motion is to pay the claims and disbursements in the amount of $1,246,736.78, and the payroll in the amount of $851,434.93. Motion by Alderman Anthony, second by Alderman Ovian. Michael, did we repeat something wrong?
I'm just saying, skip section 7, I think. So.
Okay, well, I'll get back to it then. 7 we did.
All right, guys.
Am I okay to proceed, Michael?
I'm not running the meeting, you are.
No, you try. But I am running the meeting, you're right. We have a motion and we have a second to pay the claims and the payroll. Any discussion? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Husa.
Aye.
Bittner.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Ovian.
Aye.
Sillsby.
Aye.
Dentelman.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti. Wiggington.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye.
And no need to be petty when somebody's trying to help, it's just not good.
Motion carries. Reports. We have treasurer's report. I ask for a motion to accept and file a statement of cash and investments report from August 2010 and the treasurer's report from August 2016. Motion to accept and file for audit. Motion by Alderman Bittner, second by Alderman Pusa. Any additions or corrections? All in favor of accepting and filing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oral reports. I'd ask for a motion to approve the development agreement with TJBC Inc. for the remodeling of an existing facility at 6435 West Main Street. Do I hear a motion? Motion by Alderman Anthony, second by Alderman Wiggington. Do I hear discussion?
I do have one.
Yes, sir.
And I was brought up in public participation, but when was this agreement? Because I was under the impression too that Mr. Hill was going to do the development of the site. And
Eric, do you want to explain? I guess you can go welcome to use this microphone, or you can use Dallas's.
The agreement with Mr. Hill, he's already exceeded those costs that were in his agreement. This is a separate agreement for mostly, there's a lot of interior work related to the marine operation that was not in the costs for Mr. Hill's project. And this is just for sales tax, exemption of building material, there's no tip money involved here. So,
Can I ask, does Mr. Kennedy own this section of the
He's buying it.
building?
he's purchasing.
He's purchasing it, or else
But
it's already
Mr. Hill
ours.
is doing some of the work for fire suppression and some other things.
Separating all the utilities out that one time were one line for the whole building.
All the utilities were, there was one utility bill, one water bill, one electric bill for the entire complex. Separation is part of Mr. Hill's project.
Along with the fire suppression for each building. But then when Mr. Kennedy came along, he wanted to buy his section of the building. So he's purchasing, which is about, what, a third
35,000 square feet.
of the complex.
Can we make an agreement with Mr. Kennedy if he doesn't own the building at this present time?
Well, it's all subject to him purchasing the building.
It's all in there, it's subject to the purchase, but that's all under works now. It should be done relatively quickly.
30th.
30th. And that's not the first time we've had these where they're subject to the final closing, those stipulations.
If I may, to ease some mind about this $81,000, it's really because we bought the equipment from Nebraska, not from Illinois, so there's no sales tax abatement on it. The number isn't as large as it appears to be.
Any other questions? Yes.
Mayor, just a clarification too of what Mr. Bitten brought up. Lot 81 is on 6435, not 6401. I just.
It's at the far end.
Right.
It's the old
It's
bad pricing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a motion and we have a second for this development agreement with TJBC Inc. Any further questions? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner.
No.
Randall.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Ovian.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Dillman.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti. Wigington.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye. Motion carries. I'd ask now for a motion to proceed with the termination of TIF 1. If there's no problem, can I read these three together?
Yes.
Is that okay? Make a motion to proceed with the termination of TIF 1, termination to be effective December 31st, 2016. The next part of that motion is a motion to proceed with termination of TIF 2, with the termination to be effective by December 31st, 2016. And the next motion that's a part of it is a motion to proceed with the termination of TIF 4, with the termination to be effective by December 31st, 2016. The motion is by Alderman Galletti. Who's the second? Second by Alderman Kinsella. Do we have discussion on this? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Ovian.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Dillman.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Galletti. Wigington.
Aye.
Musgrove.
Aye. Motion's carried. The motion carries with those three components. At this time, Finance Committee, Dr. Silsby.
Your Honor, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I'd like to make a motion to approve the low quote of $120,864 from the Joints, Sheet Metal, and Roofing for the Meredith Home roof replacement with funding coming from the permanent transfer from TIF 2. So moved.
Motion by Alderman Silsby. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Kinsella. Do I hear discussion? Alderman Bittner.
The roof, is it an emergency situation right now?
I think we've made it very clear for some time. If we don't do a roof, or if somebody didn't enter into an agreement with us and quickly do a roof, then we will be faced with demolition really soon. And when we found out, Eric, what was it, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, that demolition with the asbestos abatement and the demolition was closer to $700,000? Is that correct?
Yeah, between 700 and a million. I think the asbestos remediation alone was 400,000.
And then we had another
500 or so.
So close to $1 million. So We didn't ever learn that exactly. We had some ballpark numbers, but until we were getting ready to look at the budget to do the demolition, then the council, there was some, you might remember, there was quite a few people showed up here on a couple of occasions and pretty much pleaded with the council to re-advertise. I guess it's been, what, a third time, Eric, for proposals. So the council listened, and we did that. But we made it clear, I made it clear, I believe then, I know I did in several side meetings and probably in committee meeting, and probably in the minutes if it was recorded, that if we don't do a roof soon, there's going to be nothing to save, because we do have major water. Now, the question that was raised about the roof before, we didn't own the building in 2007. It was owned by the diocese. We had nothing to do, but we knew from the time that we purchased the building in 10, later in 2010, that the roof wasn't perfect then. I don't know if it was storm damage lifting it up. I don't know if it was a poor job, but the warranty wasn't there. We did make some inquiries. I think Kenny and we talked about it then, but there was no warranty on that roof. There was somehow either a poor installation or storm damage, etc., but the roof is taking on water. The building's taking on water in a big way. And so we're faced tonight, but you're basically faced with is this. We have a tentative, is that the best way to say it, proposal from SWIDA to, they're waiting on now the process of getting approval for the national tax credits, Eric?
They're putting the corporation together, and they're doing some internal things.
Okay. However, if we don't get this roof on before winter, and we've asked several other people to look at it and give us opinions, that we will be faced in the new budget year for demolition. We feel that very sincerely, that there's no more waiting. We've had the building, we tried several times to save it, to sell it. Different situations just didn't work out, and I really firmly believe that this roof is something we just have to bite off. And then, as was said by our friend here from the Historical Society, that hopefully SWIDA will come through with a workable solution, but if not, I think we'll have it in a position where we can button it up and be a little bit more patient trying to get somebody to renovate that building. That since this all started, Bob, is it now on it's on the record? How is it with the register now, or Eric?
The Illinois Historic Preservation Agency has deemed that it is eligible to be put on the National Register.
Okay.
But it will be up to SWIDA to actually
file that,
obtain and they have someone, part of their team is going to be dedicated to doing that.
And we didn't learn that until the last couple of years.
Right.
So did I answer some of the questions for some of you? Yes, sir.
I don't know if he's done. So you're done. On August 1st, we agreed to repair a leaking roof to stop ongoing damage, to repair and seal. But this seems to me like we're actually replacing.
On August 1st of this year?
On August 1st, our agreement with SWIDA, we agreed to repair a leaking roof to stop ongoing damage, repair and seal. This here sounds like it's replacing 3 roofs.
We've had people out there, Kenny, on several occasions, and this council was told, I'm pretty sure, that there was no more patching on this roof, correct?
The one quote we got to repair was very close to the price that you're looking at tonight for the replacement of that roof. And there was no guarantee given with that repair job due to the condition of the roof.
So, I mean, we're just trying to be forthright here that it needs a new roof if we're going to try to save the building. So the choice is clear. You're either for it or against it. The bottom line is we've had this building for a long time. I really never wanted to see it torn down deep, but when we went the first round or two and didn't have any substantial people that would follow through to redevelop it, then we went through the possibility of tearing it down and making it park. But an awful lot of those situations, I'm not talking about Mr. Cook's offer, but other grants and that we originally thought were going to be out there are no longer available. Grants have changed drastically since 2010. So additional assistance for demolition of that building or for turning it into park space and other things, those things have pretty much greatly gone by the wayside these days since the recession. So we're either can do this roof and hope that SWIDA comes through, or button it up so we can continue to try to get it redeveloped, or we can vote tonight to not do the roof. SWIDA, I would have to say, is probably, I'm not putting words in their mouth, but I would doubt that they would proceed because they made it pretty clear they needed help with that. And then we're going to be facing next budget year how to find money to tear it down.
So as you said, grants are drying up. If this should fall through with SWIDA, do we have any guarantees we're not going to stick $120,000 in this building and demolish it anyhow?
There's no perfect money, but Grant, there's no perfect guarantee, Alderman Tyler, but through the time that we've owned it, we have come to learn that the biggest problem we have is the ongoing intake of water from the roof. The building can be buttoned up, we feel, pretty adequately if there's this major roof repair. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this $120,864 from Joyner Sheet Metal and Roofing to replace the roof. Kenny, how soon would that be done?
That would be done immediately following chili cook-off. Thought we would be best to hold off after chili cook-off before we
Which
do
is the
that.
7th or 8th of October, so it's coming pretty soon. So it'll be done before the end of the year.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion? We have a second. If there's no further questions, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner. Randall.
Aye.
Tyler. Anthony.
Aye.
Ovian.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Dendelman. White.
Aye.
Galletti. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye. Motion carries. We go now to a motion, Alderman Silsby.
Motion to approve the short-term bank loan from Commerce Bank for $256,660.50 at 1.90 interest for 5 years for a new street sweeper. So moved.
Motion from Alderman Silsby. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Dillman. Do I hear just questions? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dendelman. White. Galletti. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Motion carries. Alderman Silsby.
Motion to approve the budget amendments as recommended by the Finance Director. So moved.
Second. Second was by Alderman Galletti. Motion was by Alderman Silsby to approve the budget amendments as recommended by the Finance Director. Any questions? Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby.
Aye.
Dendelman. White. Galletti. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a motion, request for a motion from the Board of Police and Fire Commission. If there's no objections, can I put them together? I'm sorry. Go back to Hanks. Master Sewer, Alderman Dillman.
On behalf of the Master Sewer Committee, I'd like to make a motion to approve a change order from Hanks Excavating to change the Forest Main location for a deduct of $76,090.85 for the South 11th Street Sewer Extension Project.
Motion by Alderman Dillman, second by Alderman White. And that's a deduct, so it's actually to our credit, as you all know. So that shouldn't be too tough a one. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa.
Aye.
Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Silsby. Dendelman. White. Galletti. Wigington. Musgrove.
Aye.
Motion carries. I once again apologize for the trifles. We'd ask for a motion, if there's no problem. There's two recommendations coming from the Board of Police, Fire and Police Commission. Motion, first of all, to approve the promotion of Officer John Hunter to the rank of Sergeant effective 9/20/16 at 12:01 a.m. And the second motion is to approve the hiring of a police officer, Brittany Newport.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Silsby, need a second. Second by Alderman Galletti. Discussion. Roll call.
Hazel.
Aye.
Kinsella.
Aye.
Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Sillsby. Dillman. White. Galletti. Wiggington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. Streets and grades, you gonna handle that, Ken?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Canadian National Railroad agreement in the amount of $38,203.
Motion by Alderman Kinsella, second by Alderman Wiggington. Just for those of you, this is the final stage of completing the South 8th Street improvements from really a year and a half ago, Tim.
Yes.
As we know, dealing with the railroad is a long process, but this will help us complete that crossing, and part of that is with the ADA requirements, okay?
Yes.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Sillsby. Dillman. White. Galletti. Wiggington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. I'm going to ask Dallas to please read the communications.
12A communication from Metro East Pride requesting to hold a Scarecrow Jamboree on October 22nd, 2016 from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. They're also requesting a street closure at 2nd Street on the side of West Main down to West 8th Street. Also requesting 6 picnic tables. 12B communication from Metro East Pride requesting to hold their 10th annual Pride Festival on June 10, 2017 from 8 a.m. until midnight, requesting a street closure from the fountain down to 3rd Street, as well as 1st and 2nd side streets, requesting electricity as well as trash cans and picnic tables. Also requesting police patrols from 5 p.m. until closure at midnight as in past years. 12C communication from Belleville East High School requesting to hold their 8th annual Lancer Run on November 5th, 2016. They're requesting assistance from the police department to control the flow of traffic at the intersections of Orchard Drive and Route 161 and Orchard Drive and West Boulevard from 8:45 until roughly 9:45 a.m. 12D communication from St. Peter's Cathedral requesting to close off Harrison from 1st and 2nd Street from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday, October 1st, 2016 to hold their Cathedral Food Truck Fest. 12E communication from Pitcher's Sports Pub for a street closure for their portion of the Belleville Marathon on Saturday, September 24, 2016. To the best of their knowledge, no neighbors have objected. A race registration begins at 6 a.m. and support ends at 2 p.m. They are requesting a street closure until 4 p.m. to handle the post-race crowd. 12F, request from Belleville Running Club and Toolin's Running Start to hold their 2nd annual Belleville Marathon on Saturday, September 30th, 2017 from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Motion to approve all those requests from Alderman Galletti. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Pusa. Discussion on any of those communications? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have no petitions. I'd ask for a motion to read by title only Resolution 3280 and 3281.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Sillsby. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Galletti. Do I hear discussion? All in favor of reading resolutions by title only, as I just stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a problem reading them together?
No.
Go ahead.
14A, Resolution 3280, a resolution authorizing bank loan, and 14B, Resolution 3281, a resolution amending the annual budget of the City of Belleville, Illinois for the fiscal year beginning on the 1st day of May 2016 and ending on the 30th day of April 2017.
Motion to approve resolution 3280, 3281. So moved.
Motion by Alderman Sillsby, second by Alderman White. Discussion on those two resolutions. Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Sillsby. Dillman. Seibert. I'm sorry. White. Galletti. Wiggington. And Musgrove.
Motion's carried. I don't know of any unfinished business. New business, we have motor fuel claims in the amount of $6,984.58. Alderman Sillsby made the motion. I hear a second. Second by Alderman Kinsella. Do I hear discussion on motor fuel? Roll call.
Hazel. Kinsella. Pusa. Bittner. Randall. Tyler. Anthony. Ovian. Sillsby. Dillman. White. Galletti. Wiggington. Musgrove.
Motion carries. We have no executive session. Motion by Alderman Galletti. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman White. Do I hear discussion about adjournment? All in favor signify by saying aye. The rest can stay. Motion carries.